Over in the past 3 Formula One seasons, one thing that has remained a constant is the dominance of Red Bull and Max Verstappen. The Dutch driver was crowned champion all 3 times, to the extent of all of us at the end of last year asking where exactly is the competition? Is there anyone who can challenge the raging bull? So refreshingly, this season has turned out to be slightly different. Max Verstappen may still be leading the standings, but he's facing a lot of heat, and there are drivers snapping at his heels. The situation isn't as comfortable anymore for the reigning champion. Verstappen now is not the only driver gunning for the title. He faces tough competition. Despite Verstappen winning 7 races this year, the Red Bull driver is leading by a narrow margin. In the 16 races so far, Verstappen has managed to score 303 points. The biggest competitor has been McLaren's Lando Norris with 241 points. Charles Leclerc also not too far behind with 217. But here's the thing. Lando Norris had the chance to close that gap by some margin over the weekend in Italy, and they blew it. A chance that went begging, and this was not the first time. Let's talk about what happened at the Italian Grand Prix first. Both McLaren drivers, Lando Norris and Oscar Piastri, bagged podium finishes. But the result could have been different. And with that, Verstappen's hold on the top spot too. Instead of Ferrari's Charles Leclerc, maybe Lando Norris could have finished first. Anything on that podium but third. All only if Oscar Piastri hadn't overtaken Lando Norris. That overtake, however masterful and skillful it was, proved very costly for Norris and, more importantly, McLaren. Ferrari made the most of it. Watching the 2 drivers of one team competing with each other was enough for Leclerc to focus on the job ahead and get it done and finish first. The frustration and anger spilled out after the race as fans questioned McLaren's bizarre approach. Everyone wants to win, I get it, but the team comes first. There was to be an order in place. Usually the team sets the order where they do not allow their own drivers to overtake each other. They instruct one to go ahead or one to pass. They assess and determine what result would be best for the team, especially when victory is in sight. 2 drivers in the best positions at the Italian Grand Prix when Verstappen was out of podium in the 6th position. It was a clear chance for Norris to win the thing, and most importantly, close that gap by some margin. Had Piastri not overtaken him, and had Norris finished first, he would have gotten 10 extra points. Crucial that in bridging the gap between him and Verstappen, leaving experts, journalists and those who have followed the sport for decades puzzled and quite angry.
How are you not prioritizing the guy who's going to make most out of this? How do you not even swap them on the last lap just to get a couple more points? Because you're not talking about giving away a victory at this point. It's a 2nd place. What Will Buxton, a journalist covering Formula One, was at the racetracks as well, is saying is that how can you let an opportunity like that go by? For the first time in 3 years, you have a chance, a slender chance, but a chance nevertheless, of getting closer to dethroning Verstappen from that top spot. How could the strategy not be thought through? McLaren's favoritism has cost them and Norris dearly, and it isn't just this race. At the Hungarian Grand Prix over a month ago, it was Lando Norris who was leading the grid, but McLaren asked Norris to step back and allow Piastri to overtake. It saw Piastri win the Hungarian Grand Prix, so where is the vision in McLaren? Why favour Piastri here when Norris is the one who should be given every possible opportunity to get ahead? He's the only one who can get by Max, and by that extension, kill the dominance of Red Bull. Why isn't McLaren seeing the bigger picture? After the backlash, of course, McLaren broke its silence on the subject.
It looks a little brutal if you ask a driver who is going to win a race. He gained on track that you have to swap positions, but we will review all these things for the next races. If we come to the conclusion together that swapping is the right thing to do, then we will do it.
It's great to be emotional and supportive of one's dreams. But I go back to what I said at the start. The goal is to win, for the team to win, for the driver to fuel the team to win. I understand maintaining competition within the side, it's a noble thought. But that isn't helping McLaren at the end of the day, because it's not Piastri who is close to overtaking Verstappen in the standings. That man is Norris. He's the only one with the one real chance. True to his character, this is what Norris said after the race when asked about McLaren's odd command.
It's not up to me. I think as any driver you don't want things to play that way. I wouldn't say we're running out of time, but time is going away slowly. It's not for me to decide.
Time is running away slowly is what he says, but given the current situation, he isn't getting the backing he deserves. In the past two, we've seen McLaren prefer one driver over the other. In 2007, they favoured Lewis Hamilton to teammate Fernando Alonso, which led to a huge fallout between the two. And that year, in fact, both Hamilton and Alonso finished on equal points. So McLaren clearly not rethinking their strategies enough. Here's what I think. Favoritism is fine when your own team gets the benefit of it. It's good as long as it plays into the larger good, which is the team winning. But in the Norris-Piastri case, favoritism is rather pointless here. This will not just dampen Norris's chance for a title, but also ruin McLaren's hopes of dethroning Verstappen and Red Bull, a move that may not sit too well.
Climate change is on our doorstep. It's time for a revolution to take root. And it starts with 1.4 billion Indians. It starts with one tree for humanity, one tree for Mother Earth, one tree for our future. Project One Tree, a News 18 network initiative.
Across continents, one powerful news source.
Bringing you diverse perspectives on the issues that matter.
We go beyond the boundaries to give you that little extra about every sporting moment.
So thank you for making Firstpost 5 million strong. We're counting on your support, and you can trust us to bring you the news unfiltered and unvarnished.
On the show today, the T20 World Cup Grand Prix has moved across to the West Indies. What can you expect from this?
Hello, I'm Alison Green, coming to you from Durban, South Africa. Today we have a special show.
Start with a report on India's shifting nuclear posture. For the first time since India officially became a nuclear power.
Hello and welcome to Firstpost America. I'm Aaron Ham, coming to you live from the nation's capital, Washington, D.C.